So Norm, could you just kind of describe the emotions you were feeling whenever you got inducted and you saw your statue for the first time?
Well, this really, I did not want to be emotional, but it's hard not to be when you got all the people that really influenced you and caused this day to happen. And but I wanted to enjoy it and not be emotional, because that sometimes, it just it doesn't work. But so I'm happy that I basically got through it.
Could you tell us kind of like how you found out that you were going to be inducted and just kind of how that played out, what was going through your mind?
Well, I received a phone call, and two people very prominent in this are Bill Little. Bill's one of the former players that I recruited in 1960. I'm sorry I have to give away his age when I give away my age. And the head of the Historical Society, Missouri Historical Society, were the prominent people in doing this. Gary, I apologize, but your name's not coming out. So anyway, they're very prominent.
Coach, the record on the court stands for itself, but can you talk about some of those accomplishments that you feel that you were lucky enough to earn in your life off the court?
Well, the thing that I found out was that you can't do better than trying to help somebody. And maybe that's the teacher and the coach in me. But when we came in, one of the first things I remember, we had coaches associations. There were 5 of them, I believe, in the state. And Gary Filbert, who started to show me games, I said, Gary, we've got to have one coaches association. And he put that together, and today we have one coaches association, and we have over 1,700 members now. That's men and women. And I'm really proud of that. The bell ringer, of course, is Coaches versus Cancer. And my mother had passed away from cancer, and when they came to me, I had just had cancer, and asked if I would do a 3-point challenge. And we did that. And from that, we took it to the NABC, and it's nationwide now. And all the coaches, it's like everything else. You got to have help. And I've got the best team in the world in the coaches across this country. So I think the last count, we were at $155, $160 million. And I'm just, that really makes you feel good to think that you had a part in it. You didn't do it, but you had a part in it.
How proud has it made you to see all of that growth with Coaches versus Cancer, and also with your Norm Stewart Classic, and how big that has grown in high school basketball around here?
Well, that's another thing. I use the thing about the turtle on the fence post all the time, but it's so true. You've got to have help. There's very few things. Even if you're a golfer, you've got to have instruction. Somebody's got to give you instruction. You're on your own when the game starts, but it takes a lot of people. And we've been able to put those together. And now you're talking about the Classic, the Norm Stewart Classic. We are the only ones in the United States doing that. And we have a waiting list of people that want to play. And it's phenomenal. That's another thing. It's phenomenal. And Denny Hunt, who heads up the Coaches Association, has done a tremendous job. He and Brad Hayes. So just another thing. I say just another thing, but it is pleasing to watch it and see it grow, and then watch and see how many players that have played in the Classic are playing college basketball. That's pleasing too.
Coach, has your displeasure for Kansas softened any?
No, people, we've used that to our benefit. but I really have the utmost respect for Kansas. I was recruited by Kansas when Dr. Fogg Allen, who was an esteemed member of the coaching profession and of basketball all time. But it, it makes, well, the first thing is this. Sadly, the competition is centered around what happened in a war, not around sports. Now, if you want to see a good contest where everybody's trying, and I'm talking about really getting down and getting with it, you go watch a KU. Now, it used to be this way. We haven't competed with them for a while. But when you wanted to see the top competition, you go watch KU and MU play. I don't care whether it was tiddlywinks, basketball, football. You saw guys do tremendous things.
How meaningful was this ceremony to you, just being forever enshrined with some of the most famous people that have ever been in Missouri, and knowing that since you've been born and raised here?
That's hard not to be emotional about. I think back about my parents. I think about my brother and sister. The biggest thing, and I said this today, and I'm not exaggerating, the person who should be getting this is my wife, Virginia. She's been instrumental in teaching me so many things and to appreciate so many things. But we've had a wonderful life, and we've been together for 67 years. And I'm quite proud of that she's put up with me for that long.
Of all the things to be, whether it be a used car salesman, a farmer, a banker, what inspired you to want to be a basketball coach at the college level?
Well, quite honestly, I needed a job. I tried to play pro basketball, and I could have. I had other opportunities, and I tried to play pro baseball, and I just wasn't good enough. At one point I was, I think, but I wasn't. The final analysis just wasn't good enough. I came back, and again, Don Farrow called me and Sparky Stalkup and said, come back to Columbia and work on this. We'll see what turns out. And I always laugh about this because Don Farrow and their family and the Stewart family are close to this day. My wife and Don's middle daughter were classmates and sorority sisters. But Don was very, I don't want to use the word tight, but let's say that he could make a penny into copper wire. But I just came back, and then the opportunities started to appear. And I went from being an assistant, I got the head coaching job at Northern Iowa, and then this job opened up at Missouri. I came back to Missouri.
What do you think about being called Storm and Norman? Is that appropriate? And do you think like Bobby Knight took his cues from you, but on a much higher level of throwing chairs?
No, Bobby was a good friend also. Storm and Norman, I don't know where that came from. And of course, I can always try to make some humor out of everything. But I always told them when they said Storm and Norman, I said, hey, I'm just this casual, quiet guy. But that didn't sell. So they don't call me Casual Norm, they call me Storm and Norm. And my wife told me the other day that she came over to the school, to the sorority house, and somebody said, let's go over and watch the basketball game. And somebody said, yeah, I said, it doesn't matter about the game, but you ought to see the coach. Yeah. So anyway, that's a story that she told me. So Storm and Norman.
Coach, if you had one final takeaway from today, this whole ceremony, everything, family, friends being there for you, what would that be?
I haven't been able to digest it enough yet. When you have the things that I was talking about, it's been such an adventure. The acceptance, the achievements, and the recognition. Just all those people that made it happen a lot of them were here. A lot of them could not make it or chose not to be, but I think that's the main thing.